Hello, this is Pastor Frank Lewis, and welcome to another program in which I'm going to be talking to you about identity. As you know, I've been doing a whole series on identity because identity is the core of your being, and identity affects everything that we do. I mean, everything. Everything's affected. And I'm going to be talking today about how your identity will affect your choice of a mate or who you marry. And so you may want to take notes if you're single. If you're married, well, then you can hear what is taking place because of what happened to you as a child. So remember, identity really is what you believe about yourself. And it affects, as I said, every area of your life. And so today we're going to look into how it affects your relationships, all your relationships, and your choice of a mate, and who you're attracted to, why you're attracted to them. The truth is, the person you chose or will choose to marry is not chosen from surface or who you are. In other words, it's not chosen by who you think you are, your preferences, your personality, or your hobbies, or what you like to do together. That's not how you choose or are attracted to a particular person. You choose your mate from the deepest layer of yourself, your identity. Long before you said, I do, or will say I do, long before you fell in love, or will fall in love, and long before you consciously evaluate compatibility, your internal identity has already shaped what kind of person you will feel familiar with, feel safe with, attracted to, or the right one, quote unquote. Identity is the invisible architect behind romantic attraction. You just get that. Identity, what you believe about yourself, is the invisible architect behind attraction. We don't fall in love based on what is emotionally healthy. Unfortunately, we just don't do that. And I've got lots of people that I work with that didn't do that. We fall in love with what is familiar, what we've internalized, what we have absorbed as children. Familiarity is formed in childhood. It's that sponge that picks up dirty water or clean water. And when you were a child, as I've said before, you absorbed everything. Well, what did you absorb? That's the question. That's why two siblings raised up in the same home choose completely different partners. It is because each internalized their childhood experiences differently. That's the whole reason. Identity is personal, emotional, and deeply spiritual. It becomes the filter through which we interpret love, attraction, safety, and connection. Who you believe you are will determine who you believe you can be loved by. I'm going to go deeper into how your identity affects who you choose as a mate, but before I do, I want to tell you about the book that I wrote. And the book I wrote is The Key. What's it the key to? It's the key to emotional healing. And in this video, and almost every video I do on identity, you're going to hear me say, you've got to be emotionally healed if you're going to be more your true authentic self. And so this book is available on Amazon, and I suggest you get it and read about how you can be emotionally healed, because it's going to affect every area of your life. So I also have a YouTube channel, and that YouTube channel is at Identities Plural Restored, at Identities Plural Restored. Not plural, you don't type that in, it's just Identities Restored. And so one other resource I have for you is a website called identityrestored.com. identityrestored.net. And you can come there and you can leave your email address. Tell me how I can help you. Myself or one of my staff people will help you. Now, we're going to dig deeper into this because we want to find out why you are attracted to who you're attracted to. Now, whether you're married or not married, this is going to be applicable because you're going to find out why you have some problems in your marriage or what to avoid if you're, not married. And so the truth is your identity always sets the bar for all your relationships, including your romantic one. If you believe you are worthy, you will be drawn to people that treat you with honor, love, and respect. But if you believe you are not enough, not valuable, or not lovable, you'll be drawn to people who reinforce what you believe, people who keep you small, insecure, and emotionally malnourished. Emotionally malnourished. Your identity determines your standard. If you have a more secure identity, you will know you deserve mutual love, kindness, and emotional safety. If you have a wounded identity or a damaged identity, then you will say to yourself, I should be grateful for anyone that loves me at all. Now, that's a big difference between the more secure identity, more of who you are, who God made you to be, and a damaged identity. That's why when you are emotionally wounded, you will end up in relationships that mirror those wounds. Your wounded identity causes you to accept less than you truly need, want, or desire. You don't choose what's best for you. See, you can't, because it's all below conscious thought. It's in the subconscious. It's what you absorbed. It's what you internalized, as I said. You don't choose what's best for you. You choose what matches the beliefs inside of you. That's a fact. Your childhood emotional wounds actually shape what feels normal, quote unquote, normal, in love or in a romantic relationship. Your first experiences with love as a child, healthy or dysfunctional, become your emotional blueprint for relationships, whether they're romantic or any other kind of relationships. You unconsciously look for partners who remind you of the emotional environment in which you were raised, even if that environment was chaotic and painful. Okay? You're going to pick partner. You're going to be attracted to someone who is going to feel familiar because they create chaos. That's what happened to me and my wife. My wife was raised in chaos. She created chaos in our marriage, and because I was raised in chaos, she felt familiar to me. But it was painful. Here are some things to consider. This is some things for you to consider. If you have had to earn approval as a child, you're going to choose a partner who makes you work for affection. In other words, you're going to have to earn affection from your partner. Imagine that. If love meant surviving anger or unpredictability, as it did in my case, chaos feels more normal than peace. That's the way it used to be for me. If love meant being unnoticed or invisible, you will choose partners who don't actually see you. And so if you're a parent, if your parent was emotionally unavailable, then you will pick partners who are emotionally distant. Now, they're not going to be, the kind that are going to be really there supporting you. If you had to be a caregiver, as my wife was, you're going to choose partners who need fixing. And that's what she did. I needed fixing, so she was attracted to me. I was a mess. I was broken. I was insecure. Oh my. You will pick partners who make you feel comfortable with the dysfunction you grew up in. And boy, that's exactly what happened to me, and it's probably happened to you if you're married, and it's going to happen to you if you're not. So please, take this right in and own it. Your identity makes the familiar feel comfortable, like it did with me, even when it's unhealthy, and boy, was it unhealthy. When you get enough emotional healing, then the familiar healing love finally feels safe. In other words, when you get enough emotional healing, you're going to feel safer when you have healthy love, not unhealthy love. That's not going to feel right to you. Internalized roles determine what role you play in your marriage or even in your romantic relationship. Children learn roles in their family. You learn to be a caretaker. You learn to be a rescuer. You learn to be the invisible one. You learn how to be a high achiever. I have a number of people I work with, surprisingly, ladies that are high achievers. You learn to be a peacekeeper. You learn to be, you were the scapegoat. You were the one that everybody blamed everything on. You were overly responsible. That was my wife. The emotional parent, and she was an emotional parent to her parents. You imagine that? She not only had to raise 9 brothers and sisters, she had to raise her parents. She was emotionally a parent to her parents. Well, that's why she's not here. She's in heaven, because she couldn't trust God, and she couldn't trust me, and she couldn't trust anybody. These roles become a part of your identity, as it did with her. As an adult, you will look, or you will be attracted to a partner who allows you to keep living out these roles, because these roles feel like, that's who I am. That's what I do. It's not true, but that's what it feels like. And here's some examples. If you are a caretaker, then you will choose a mate, be attracted to a person who is a rescuer. If you are a peacekeeper, then you will choose a mate who creates conflict, just the opposite. If you are a responsible person, then you will choose a partner who won't carry their share of the load. And I work with a number of women that have husbands that won't carry their share of the load, or vice versa. If you are a high achiever, then you will choose a partner who depends upon your success. Oh my gosh, that's something. If you were an invisible child, then you will choose a partner who overlooks you, who just doesn't see you, who's distant. The truth is, these roles are not who you are. They are internalized patterns that became survival strategies, and the survival strategies that a child involuntarily does. And every single child on the planet creates survival strategies, and it's involuntary. They are called the false self. That's what the experts call them, the false self. Survival strategies. When you have more emotional healing, there it is again, I mentioned it. When you have more emotional healing, the role you play will change as you become more your true, authentic self. Then the role you will play in love will change also. Isn't that great to hear? You can get a more emotionally healed, and you won't be in as unhealthy relationship. If you get emotionally healed and you're married, you'll have a better relationship in your marriage. Your identity determines your attraction style. You may mistakenly think attraction is random and purely physical. In other words, you see a beautiful woman or a good-looking man, that causes the attraction. No, that's just a small little fraction of it. Actually, it is not. Actually, attraction is emotional and identity driven. See, you only are attracted to those people that you are familiar, okay, that make you feel comfortable even in dysfunction. And here are some examples. If you grew up in an environment where you were feeling unsafe, you felt unsafe, so you created survival strategies in the false self, you will most likely be attracted to strong or controlling partners. If you grew up in an environment that was where you were feeling invisible, you'll be attracted to confident, charismatic partners who temporarily make you feel seen. They don't really make you feel seen, but they act like they do. They may love bomb you and be a narcissist. That happens quite often. Feeling responsible for others. If you grew up in an environment where you're feeling responsible for others, you will be attracted to partners who are emotionally unstable and dependent on you. They will make you their mother, even if they're an adult male. If you grew up in an environment feeling rejected, you will be drawn to partners who are emotionally unavailable and they withhold from you. If you grew up in an environment where you're feeling unworthy, you will most likely find if you are feeling worthy, let me get this straight. If you're feeling worthy, you will most likely find healthy, kind, consistent, and connected people boring. See, if you grew up feeling unworthy, you just weren't feeling worthy of love, worthy to, just because of the way you were treated, you will find healthy, kind, and consistent people boring. That's why the real pretty cheerleader, for instance, likes the biker guy. That's one of the reasons for that. Attraction is rarely about the other person. It reveals what is unresolved in you. It reveals your emotional wounds, quite honestly. Your identity actually influences what red flags you will overlook. Okay? Red flags. There's red flags all the time, but you overlook them because of your damaged identity. If you have a damaged and distorted identity, then you will not be able to see red flags. Instead, you will see opportunities to earn love, opportunities for you to try to fix this person, to earn love. You'll have to, work for love. Why is that? Well, because your distorted identity says love requires suffering. If I try hard enough, they will change. Oh, I have so many people that have tried that. It doesn't work. Love is supposed to hurt because that's what you felt as a child. I really don't deserve better. That's what you felt as a child. This is as good as it gets. Oh my gosh, that's a horrible place to be. That's really compromised. And it's not going to provide a relationship, a marriage relationship, or even a romantic relationship that's going to be life-giving. It's going to be life-damaging or life, sucking or taking away. Your damaged and distorted identity will determine how long you stay in a toxic relationship, what you will tolerate, and how you justify being mistreated. Narcissists have such an ability to take emotionally wounded women in particular. It can also work the other way. I have people that I work with who are married to a narcissistic woman, but oftentimes it's the men. And what happens is they say things, they do things, they love bomb, they do all this stuff, and then you find out you're just caught in their web, and you're going to suffer, and so many have. When you are more emotionally healed, then you will do the opposite. See, the red flags are always there, but you overlook them. Now, when you're more emotionally healed, you will recognize danger in a relationship more quickly. You will set boundaries early. You will protect your heart, because out of the abundance of the heart, you're going to have the issues of life. You will not compromise your emotional safety. You will seek mutual love, not survival-based relationships or survival-based love. You know, like I'm just surviving, so I just get love, a little bit of love, a little bit of attention anywhere I can get it in the relationship. Emotional healing, which causes you to be less of your false self and more of your true authentic self, is the difference between choosing a partner who wounds you and choosing a partner who loves you well. You see that? Emotional healing is the key. And you're going to see that more as we go into this. If you get emotionally healed, you're going to have a much better marriage. You're going to pick a much better person, and you're going to have a much better romantic relationship. Your identity shapes your capacity for healthy love. The truth is, even if you marry or are in a romantic relationship is an emotionally healthy person, your identity, what you believe about yourself, will determine whether you can receive the love they have. If they're healthy, they may be able to love you. But what you believe about yourself is going to affect that. When your identity is damaged and distorted, you will believe, they'll leave me. They don't really mean what they say. I'm too much. I'm not enough. I have to be perfect in order to receive this love. I have to earn this love. If my partner really knew me, they would reject me. Without you being more emotionally healed and less your false self, you can see from these examples, you will create or sabotage withdrawal, emotional distance, or anxiety in all of your romantic relationships or your marriage, especially if you don't get that emotional healing. When you are more emotionally healed, you will believe, I'm worthy of love. I can be seen and still be safe. I'm lovable even with all my flaws. I have a mutual connection, and that's good. God designed me to give and receive love, and He did, but not in you got to be your true authentic self to give and receive love. You can't be a false self or work or live by survival skills. So when you are your true authentic self, and you're emotionally healed, will get you there. You have the capacity to be fully known, emotionally known, relationally known, and spiritually blessed. Your identity determines whether you choose a partner with God or from your own emotional wounds. God's the best chooser, by the way. When you are more emotionally healed, then you are much more likely to choose a mate with God's wisdom, using God's wisdom. When you are not emotionally healed enough, then you will choose a mate to fill a void, to fill your lack of love, to fill the needs, the dysfunctional needs that you have from your childhood. One is spirit-led, the other is wound-led. When you don't know who you are, you will look for someone to define you. That's what my wife did, but I didn't do a very good job. When you get enough emotional healing, so you are more true, you are more your true authentic self, you will no longer need a partner to fix your emptiness. You can choose a partner to build a future with. Imagine that. Sounds pretty good, doesn't it? When you are more emotionally healed, then you'll be able to choose a mate differently, because you can choose from love instead of from fear. See, if you are not your true authentic self, you're your false self, your whole life is based on fear. So you're going to choose wrong. You're going to be attracted to dysfunction. Because you can choose from clarity instead of from your own emotional wounds, because that's going to change things. Because you can choose more from emotional wholeness than emotional wounds. Because you're more your true authentic self, you can choose who is healthy instead of whom it feels familiar. Because you can choose your destiny instead of just surviving. The truth is, you cannot choose the right person, the one God has for you, until you become more emotionally healed. That's just the truth. Emotional healing leads you to the right kind of love. When you get more emotionally healed, everything will change. You will stop chasing emotionally unavailable people. You will stop chasing partners who you need to fix or parent. You'll stop accepting abusive, controlling, or narcissistic partners. You'll stop thinking chaos is love. It's not love. You'll stop thinking to make someone else feel happy. See, that's not your job, is to make someone else feel happy or feel more important. That's not your job. You'll stop settling for half love, false love, or painful love. You'll start choosing a partner who matches your more healed identity. When you have become more your true authentic self, you are more prepared for the love God intended for you. It is a love that is a mutual. It's secure, it's safe, it's honoring, it's joyful, and it's aligned with your destiny. You will stop attracting what you don't want, and you will attract what you believe you have a right to have. You get more emotional healing, so you are less your false self and more your true authentic self, and who you attract romantically will change. Your entire love life will be absolutely transformed. So, why are you attracted to the person that you have either married or romantically attracted to now? Why are you attracted? One reason: identity. And the problem with your identity is that as a child, you created a false identity to survive or get your needs met, and they call that a false self. A false self cannot make good choices. A false self can't trust God. A false self is not going to let God help you or lead you to the right person because you have fear of God. You're not trusting God. So what I can say to you is get emotionally healed, more emotionally healed, and you're going to allow then God to help you find the right person or help you to have a much better marriage, because God is good and He's good for you.